Romans 8 verse 6. For to be carnally minded is death, but to be spiritually minded is life and peace. As mentioned earlier, on the first day before my departure, I set my car's odometer to 0 to calculate the mileage of this journey. When I checked the odometer midway, I realized I had only driven a little over 90 miles. There were still over 3,000 miles ahead, and I thought of giving up. At that time, I was in the Rocky Mountains. My face had turned pale because I was the only one in an icy and snowy landscape. All the roads around me were frozen, extending for hundreds of miles. I hadn't even seen the frozen mountain peaks yet and was already considering retreating. However, everyone who had bid me farewell knew about my departure. At my destination, there was a school waiting for me. I already had the registration certificate from that school. Though I was alone, should I go back? If I were to turn back, the registration certificate from the school I was supposed to attend would have expired, and even if I returned, there would be no school to accommodate me. Furthermore, I need someone to discuss this with. There were no mobile phones or internet back then, decades ago, to communicate with the outside world. So, I decided to stop my car in the middle of the road and contemplate what to do next. I wondered why my sports car was going so slow at that moment. I had pushed the accelerator to the maximum, yet the speed was only around 20 miles per hour. It chilled my heart, and I couldn't help but question what was happening. As it turned out, while driving on the road, I had already entered a steep uphill slope, but I hadn't realized it. Perhaps you have never experienced this situation. When you drive for a long time on a straight road, even if it's an uphill slope, you may think you are on a flat road, and your speed will gradually slow down. It was winter, and despite my full acceleration, my speed was only around 20 to 30 miles per hour. I was perplexed then and only realized I was on an incline after getting out of the car. I hadn't noticed it because I had been sitting inside the car all along. This left me pondering for a long time inside the vehicle. Looking back, I realized this experience reflected the next 40 years of my life. Of course, a divine influence undoubtedly inspired the decision to cross Canada. Undoubtedly, many of the subsequent experiences I went through had similar situations. At the beginning of these situations, I never anticipated that they would develop into such severe circumstances, much like the hydrogen peroxide incident. I used to think Hong Kong was a prominent place, but this incident was beyond my imagination. Even my parents, who had immigrated to Canada, could see my recent photo in the newspapers. It's incredible to think that there was no internet to send photos back then. Yet, my parents could see their son's appearance on a magazine cover. Truly high-tech. My sister mentioned that when my mom saw the magazine, she put it down, picked it up again, took a few steps away, turned around, and picked it up again. She even commented on how handsome I looked. It was pretty amusing. At the beginning of the hydrogen peroxide incident, I had no idea how it would eventually turn out. It was genuinely unpredictable. Similarly, when I shared the Zion message in 2009, I never imagined that I would continue sharing this information for over 10 years, although I am used to extending the content of information to a maximum of several articles. There were times when I initially planned to share only a few topics, but ended up sharing dozens of articles, then expanded to hundreds of articles. I never expected to share the Zion message for such a long time. Still, there's no denying the countless instances of it being affirmed. After I share it, events start happening in reality. Over the years, I was navigating this path with limited human capability. However, suddenly, I saw infinite possibilities ahead, intertwined with endless fear. That's why I must have an unwavering mindset to persevere. Thank God. Each time, I also knew that what I did was absolutely right. So, it doesn't matter how things unfold, I am confident in my correctness. I deeply understand that what I do is for the benefit of others, and I do it most genuinely without any pretense. Since it is right, I will continue to persist. I do not claim to be right when I am clearly in the wrong, including the split with the Canadian Mother Church. Throughout the years, this phenomenon has occurred in every situation. The most incredible part is that many unexpected good outcomes have emerged. Even though I am always prepared and hoping to assist others effortlessly when they are in need, things often turn out differently from expectations. At the beginning of these situations, I may have yet to determine the final outcome. Still, I also expected favorable results. When I started sharing the oxygen therapy information, I honestly did not expect the situation to unfold in this way, nor did I anticipate the absence of positive outcomes. Even though I thought there might be a chance for payback, it hasn't materialized over the years. However, there are 4 exceptions, all driven by positive momentum, as they all had favorable results. Looking back, these moments had positive outcomes because I was willing to do things that didn't have immediate positive results. This gave birth to the first momentum, followed by the 4th momentum. Everyone can witness the immense impact of these positive outcomes, which the world doesn't deserve. In the Christian community, Oral Roberts was the first to share teachings on seed faith, explaining the existence of double blessings, where all blessings could be doubled. Later, some mentioned tenfold blessings, but they remained relatively unknown. Subsequently, Kenneth Hagin and Kenneth Copeland also shared teachings on hundredfold blessings. However, upon my appearance, I shared teachings on blessings that are 100,000 times greater. I am interpreting it based on the passage in the book of Revelation. They triumphed over it by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony. They did not love their lives so much as to shrink from death. This passage mentions that the brothers and sisters can overcome the Antichrist because of the blood of the Lamb and their testimony. Even though they face death, they remain faithful. This is where the idea of 100,000-fold blessings comes into play. Indeed, the 100-fold blessings for us have already been received and surpassed. It means that there are still positive outcomes after the beginning of something, even if the process doesn't go as expected initially, especially with the 4th momentum. We initially anticipated that Bitcoin would appreciate in value within a short period, but unexpectedly, this happened 10 years later. The restart of the 4th momentum also had positive outcomes after it began. The same applies to the restart of the 1st momentum. It already had positive outcomes before the restart, and the positive outcomes continued afterward. Why are we worthy of these blessings? We are willing to do things that may yield little positive results. Those actions are done for the sake of others, allowing us to sow seeds, even if they bring us losses from beginning to end. But only in doing so can we provide what God is seeking in it. Understanding that neither the 1st nor the 4th momentum has provided what God intended to find is essential. While what we pursue may include results, achievements, benefits, glory, abundance, and wealth, God is seeking character. In essence, what I have done before, known as sowing seeds, the character I have demonstrated in it is precisely what God is searching for. Romans 8 verse 6. For to be carnally minded is death, but to be spiritually minded is life and peace.
I thought once that I knew it all, it all figured out, to serve till I couldn't. Success was a sure thing. God had to sort me out. Pain and sickness no one could have foreseen. You see, darkness arrived too suddenly. To Him I prayed, Lord, if you'd heal me, I'd serve you with all of me.